Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Good afternoon. We have a good news report.
Yes, I would like to invite up Phoenicia Homan, Vice President for Academic Affairs, to give our good news report.
Good afternoon, President Kelly and members of the board. I am thrilled to share with you that Southeast Tech has been awarded a $49,850 seed grant through the NSF E-Core initiative that really came through Black Hills State University a couple years ago. So this funding will support a project that we've called Experience CTE through engineering, technology, and advanced manufacturing pathways. So that will help us address South Dakota's workforce shortages in computer-aided design, digital design, automation, and precision manufacturing, particularly in our rural and underserved communities. So we intend to expand some hands-on engineering learning for both K-12 students and educators through 3 key strategies. The first is some additional or kind of enhanced on-campus immersion events that expose students to these fields. The second is a mobile engineering technology lab that brings really engineering-infused activities directly to our schools in this area and around the state. And the third is some professional development opportunities for K-12 educators to help strengthen their confidence and capacity in teaching these concepts. So through this, we're hoping to increase student engagement, enhance their college and career readiness, and build a sustainable ecosystem that supports engineering-rich STEM learning. So for this will primarily be the work of 2 of our instructors, Aaron Lally and Greg Schwabach, and they're partnering up to carry this out, and then with some support from others of us as far as marketing and paperwork and all the other pieces. We're really excited that we can be part of the E-Core project. I had the opportunity to be on the team of that in my previous position, and there were no technical colleges involved at that time. So excited that as Southeast, we're the first technical college to be able to connect in with the E-Core grant, and excited for the additional opportunities that will hopefully provide us. So thank you.
Just a couple quick questions. You were going so fast.
No, shoot, I always do that.
Well, it's just the good news report, so we're not going to acknowledge anything. But we will acknowledge it's a good news report. What was the amount of the grant?
It's $49,850.
Okay.
They gave us a $50,000 limit, so we came in.
Grant-making organization?
It's the South Dakota E-Core grant. Black Hills State University is the primary awardee of it it's an NSF grant, so the National Science Foundation. E-Core EPSCoR is our funding mechanism for NSF in the state, and then they've split it out into these they love their letters, and so they've split it into different types, and so this is an E-Core grant, and that's what it's kind of known as through the educational institutions across the state.
Okay, got it. So K through 12, it looks like you're going to be partnering around the area with local schools.
Primarily focusing on middle school and high school students with jumping into their school or into their math classrooms, science classrooms. A lot of them don't, some have computer tech or engineering classes, but doing some hands-on activities with from a manufacturing side as well as a CAD side. We have a mobile computer lab, and we're purchasing a couple additional pieces of equipment that will allow us to bring some high-tech pieces to their schools so that they can try it out as well.
Okay, so they're not coming onto campus, you're going to
They can be, where there's 3 pieces. Some will come to campus for different activities, will go to their schools for some activities, and then we'll invite educators to come to campus for a workshop.
Got it. My last question is, how long do you have? Is it a year-long
Great
grant?
question. When I first submitted this, we didn't have full funding authority yet or spending authority, but that's now been granted, and so this will go through April of 2027. So we have about 16 months.
Good. Takes a while.
Yeah, enough to get some momentum for the next one. So,
yeah. Gail?
So kind of from a marketing standpoint, is this that you're, excuse me, marketing to middle and high school kids to come to Southeast, try our CAD program, try our, maybe our engineering, architectural, whatever, and then is there a connection with Black Hills State that they might articulate to Black Hills State after they do? Is that kind of the marketing angle here, or?
So I think all of our four-year partners across the state, both public and private, as well as some of the tribal schools, are part of this eCore grant as a whole and have their different angles on it. And the grant as a whole is to really infuse STEM, and they primarily focused on some of the natural sciences as well as some computer and cyber science into this original grant, and just to build that ecosystem, and that's the word they've used across the state. So our angle on this is there wasn't a technical college representative, and in that STEM world, there wasn't much of an engineering focus, but I knew that there was the computer interest, and so if we tied it to CAD and the manufacturing work, especially with some additional programming with our Abner Center coming online, and seeing it as a pipeline. Right now, our engineering programs have a partnership with School of Mines, which is also part of the project, as well as a couple connections up with SDSU. So I anticipate that could increase some of those pathways as well, but this particular project, I don't believe Black Hills has programming in that area, and so they're just to support the STEM ecosystem as a whole.
And it also looks like you're going to be doing some staff development, professional development for educators at what level?
There'll be, we're aiming particularly for those middle school and high school teachers, but just knowing a lot of times it's librarians or after school folks that are doing a lot of work in this space as well. And so we'll be having a 3-day workshop this summer. I think that we picked the dates this week at the end of June. We got to promote it tomorrow or the end of the week at the STEM conference, but I think we landed on those. We were waiting to make sure we avoided other workshops, but we have funding for 20 teachers, I believe, to get a participant support stipend for attending.
So what I was going to say is, good job for stepping into the void when you saw that there wasn't a technical college presence there. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I have our instructors are the ones that are going to pull it off, and so much kudos to them. And I'm excited for them to be able to come back and share some of the work that they're doing at a future meeting.
Well, and it puts extra work on their already busy schedule.
It does.
It shows their kind of them seeing the need for engineering to make a further reach and dent. So that's
awesome. Thank you.
okay. Can I please get an approval of the meeting minutes held on January 7th, 2026?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, do we have anybody wishing to address the board on non-agenda or agenda items? Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 7. Can I please get a motion to approve the agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. Seeing no conflicts of interest, we will move on to the approval of the consent agenda items, items A through C. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items, A through C?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. We will now move on to the reports of the president.
All right, thank you very much. We have a full set of reports for you today. We have 4 of them for you today. We will start with our student success report, and this month it is on student engagement. And so I'd like to invite up Kelly Jorgensen, who is one of our student success advisors and our student engagement coordinator. And I believe she has a guest with one of our students as well that I'll allow her to introduce herself as well.
Thank you, President Klossman, and thank you, board members, for having us. And I apologize, my voice is I'm getting my voice back after being under the weather, so I apologize. But I'm Callie Jorgensen, Student Success Advisor and Student Engagement Coordinator. I'm in my 2nd year at STC, and I'll let Taylor introduce herself.
Hello, board. Very nice to meet you, and it's an absolute honor to be able to speak in front of you today. My name is Taylor Hansen. I am currently a 1st-year student at Southeast Tech, and I'll start my program, Cardiovascular Sonography, in the fall here. I'm originally from, if anyone knows Deadwood, South Dakota. Yeah, so I'm from Deadwood. So I'm really excited to be out here in Sioux Falls and be able to explore all the opportunities that Southeast Tech has to offer for me.
All right, so we started off the fall semester by sending out a student engagement survey, and this is our second year doing this, to just kind of get some feedback from our students of where we were wanting to head for the year. So we had 466 students complete this survey. 73 of those lived on campus, and 79% of those students fell between the ages of 18 and 22. And we focused this survey on our wellness wheel, which encompasses academic, career, emotional, financial, physical, and social. So we built all of those questions around that. And what we found is for the academic side of things, 68% of students were interested in a study skills time management workshop, while 48% were interested in a workshop in taking an anxiety. So the ARC and our Student Success Seminar class are the ones who are gonna kind of lead and address those needs. On the career side of things, some standout things were 56% of students wanted to attend a resume help session, and 56% also wanted to attend an industry partner panel. We did try piloting a professional headshot and resume review event last spring, which was really successful. And seeing these numbers, we're gonna do that again here in March. And I'm gonna partner with our career services coordinator in marketing to do that. And then emotional, you'll see it's really great to see that 91% of these students are aware that we have an on-campus counselor, and there's lots of possible activities that we can do here between classes, and that's where we're kind of been targeting and where we're gonna kind of highlight things as we move forward. Financially, so 61% of students said they would like to attend a personal finances 101 session, and 68% want to attend a session about how to buy a home. And so we are going to have both of these covered during presentations by Wells Fargo in March. On the social side of things, our biggest takeaway was just that students said they weren't very involved in intramurals, academic orgs, or clubs, and this is mainly due just to their lack of time and other responsibilities that students have. So that's something that we're seeing again. So just wanting to make sure that we're addressing the needs of the students who are wanting to be involved in those activities. And then physical, 43% said they would participate in a group fitness class, with yoga or Pilates being the top choice. So that's something that we are doing at De-Stress Fest. We've been having yoga sessions, and something that we'll look into offering more as well. 67% indicated that they would participate in more campus activities if there was an hour during the week, which no classes were scheduled. So this could be an area for us to explore. And then just a few quotes that I wanted to highlight that I liked. I just want less reasons to want to leave the campus immediately after all my classes for the day end. I have the worst financial anxiety ever. I love finding ways to save and make money. Southeast Tech should build a weight room, allowing and promoting the physical health and well-being of young students, especially ones preparing to go into a physically demanding field. Maybe a fitness club would be a good idea so that a bunch of people who like to lift can meet up. There are multiple reasons I do not partake in sports or clubs due to their times. For example, the clubs I'm most interested in were volleyball and bowling. However, they both clash with my church and work schedules. I also have not joined any clubs because I haven't seen a lot of advertising for them or anything that I would find interesting to join. So all interesting quotes that we got from our surveyed students and that we're using to then decide how we're going to do programming moving forward for the year. One thing that we did implement last summer is we did create a SharePoint site that is everything student engagement. So this site links our event calendar, a list of orgs and clubs, where we register students for intramurals, forms and resources for our clubs and their advisors and leaders. So our goal is really to continue to build this and promote this and get more use out of it. All new students this academic year received this direct URL, southeasttech.edu/get-involved at Jumpstart. And so we're hoping to get students directed here and to get them involved in all of our student engagement things. So we're excited to have this kind of one-stop shop for everything student engagement. Some of our fall events, we had another successful welcome picnic with our activities and part-time job fair. So you'll see that top picture is from that. We had over 1,000 SCC community members participate in that event the first week of classes. Our community blood bank blood bank continues to come each semester and be a success. We had 74 students go to Great Shots in October. You'll see a picture of one of the groups there. We had a very rainy last year, but this year it was beautiful, and it was great to see all the students enjoying a couple hours of free golf. And then De-Stress Fest has really become a signature event for us, and so we've done that the week before finals every semester for the last 3 semesters. And we had therapy dogs, ornament decorating, bingo, puzzles, yoga, all the things you can think of to kind of just de-stress and get ready for finals week. Intramurals, our intramurals continue to really have some of our higher participation numbers. So we had another really successful fall intramural season with 170 students participating in bowling, disc golf, soccer, trap shooting, and volleyball. And you'll see there's a culmination of all those pictures from the fall here that marketing put together for us. And spring's intramurals, basketball and bowling just got started last week. And so they're off to a really great start. We've got 16 teams playing basketball over at George McGovern tonight. So that's always exciting to see all of them come out and play basketball. And then our academic orgs, so they're continuing to be really successful in offering a lot of on-campus and off-campus opportunities to network, develop skills, and serve the community. So you'll see the first picture is one of our landscape horticulture students. They did a honey harvest at McCrossin Boys Ranch. The top picture is of our early childhood student organization, and they stuffed stockings for Vera Behavioral Health. And then the bottom picture is of our nursing student organization, and they had a fiesta ball where it was kind of a social event where they also got to invite their family members to come and enjoy some time together. We did add one new academic org that I wanted to point out, the student chapter of the National Association of Veterinary Technicians in America. So this is tied specifically to our vet tech program and is advised by one of their instructors, so we're excited to see what they are going to do. And our clubs are also busy and meeting regularly. You'll see the top picture is our Turning Point USA group. So they held a speaker on campus in November. Our Roots Multicultural Club was very busy in the fall, so that's a culmination of all the great things that they were doing. And we did also add one more club in the fall as well, Personal Finance Club. And their purpose is really to educate and inspire and equip members with essential financial literacy. So this has been a really great addition since we are obviously have students who are looking to be more financially literate. All right, and then our student engagement board. So last year we did some work, some benchmarking and research to just try to gain a better sense of what we could do with our student government association. It just wasn't quite working in the way that we had wanted it, and so we came across more of a programming model that we thought would serve our students better. And so that was created this year, and their mission is really to provide the student body with activities and events that build community, promote civic responsibility, and improve the student experience. So we have 3 officers that are in our newly student engagement board, a president, a vice president, and our marketing chair. And Taylor is our marketing chair, so I'm gonna let her kind of lead the next few slides and tell you what they've been up to.
All right, hello again. So yes, I am the marketing chair. I make basically just a whole bunch of posters, newsletters. I take a whole bunch of photos and I have them uploaded, and yeah, just trying to kind of spread the word about the student engagement board. So during our first semester, we held at least one event per month, excluding the months of August and September, as we were trying to just come together as a newly formed club. Our first and highest attended event was fall painting, where we had 67 students attend. There were pumpkins, canvases to be painted, and we also supplied other painting supplies like paintbrushes, things to hold the paint on, and I feel like that event was really successful. I was really proud that our first event we held was so highly attended, so that was held in very early October. Our next event was the Halloween costume contest, which was also held in October. Our service project for this semester was the ABC Drive, where we collected donations for food, cleaning supplies, and hygiene products, which were then donated to the Campus Covered. My personal favorite event we held was the Game Fest, which was held in November. We provided board games, card games, as well as one online game where you could play as a group. That was really fun. There was a lot of people that attended that as well. We also served some sodas and some pizza. Notable thing from that one is I was playing a card game and I was starting to talk with the people around me, and I noticed that they all knew each other and they were all dual credit students. And so I was the only one who was a full-time Southeast Tech student. So I thought that that was really interesting that we had people not only who were full-time students, but also people as a dual credit student coming in and enjoying events that we were putting on in the school. Our last event for this semester was our table at our De-Stress Fest. I know Callie talked about it just a little bit, but I wanted to go into more detail about what the Student Engagement Board did. We provided pizza, soda, hot chocolate with all the fixings, and some cookie decorating where students were able to choose their cookie shape and a multitude of frosting colors. And then, of course, you got to eat your cookie afterwards, which was my personal favorite part of that. Overall, our semester was filled with planned events to hopefully give students the opportunity to engage, socialize, and connect with other students. Now for our spring events. So our first event actually just happened last week. We were able to take students to Sky Zone to go and jump for free for an hour and a half. We had 20 people attend, and some highlights from that event include some very competitive basketball and dodgeball games. So it was really fun to see some students not only get some physical activity, but also start bonding and connecting with their other fellow students. Our next event will be the talent show on February 25th. Students and staff and faculty are all welcome to not only participate, but also to attend the event as well. It will be held in the Hub Auditorium. We'll also have some Minute to Win It games and some Southeast Tech trivia. So if you guys think you know your stuff, come on down and we'll get you some prizes. Next up in March, we will do a similar event to our fall painting since that was such a successful event. Again, we'll have painting supplies like canvases, paints, paintbrushes, and then instead of doing pumpkins, we'll do something a little different, just little small flat river rocks you can take and go decorate parks, your own garden, or even your room. And then I'm hoping some snacks will also be provided. We're hoping to maybe do some sort of catering event to help entice people come in and spend some time here. For Easter, we will repeat our last year's Easter egg hunt with some minor tweaks just to help the event run more smooth. Over the course of 3 days, we will go to all 6 of the buildings on campus and hide some Easter eggs. So if you guys see any, look out for some candies in there. We will also have a service project surrounding Earth Day and then another table at the De-Stress Fest in the spring. However, these details are still a little fuzzy. They haven't been completely fleshed out as it's pretty far in our future here. So that's for, all of our spring events. Now for our goals, the Student Engagement Board, Callie and I were talking, and we really think we have 2 very prominent goals for this school year. Our first one is to acquire some more members. By gaining more members, I think we'd be able to help the entire student body of Southeast Tech a little more. Again, just being able to plan bigger, larger, more elaborate events and having the manpower to do so. Our second goal is a key step in this process and one that is especially important to me as the marketing chair of the Student Engagement Board. This goal is to gain more recognition and have a bigger marketing presence. We've already began steps toward this step by posting our events in the newsletter, having flyers around campus, and soon we'll also be having things on the TVs as well surrounding campus. So we're hoping that, I know it was mentioned in one of the quotes where someone didn't know that there were really any student engagement clubs. So we're hoping by making a bigger presence, people will become more aware of us and see the good we're trying to do here for the students. We've also been brainstorming different ideas with the marketing club and working with the marketing department as well. So that concludes goals and events. And I just wanted to finish by speaking a little bit about Student Engagement Board. I joined the Student Engagement Board looking for opportunities to join a community and help other students make a memorable and engaging time while they're here. And so far, SEB has really exceeded my expectations with this. I never would have thought that I would be standing here in front of you, the board and the president, being able to talk about the Student Engagement Board. So I'm just really excited to continue doing good and continue getting students engaged here on campus. Thank you.
All right, so just where we're going, we're going to continue to administer the student engagement survey and then offer those signature events that have just been working well. We'll just continue to monitor the pulse of our campus and adapt to the needs of students. And then one of our strategic goals that we're working on does really tie in and connect to co-curricular programming and evaluating that. So we'll be working really closely with that goal and those tactics. So any questions you have for us?
1 second, we're going to acknowledge your report and then we'll open it up for questions. How about that? Can I please get a motion to acknowledge the student engagement update?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, what? Any discussion, questions, observations, thoughts, feedback? Well, I have one. In addition to getting your sonography and vascular, you're taking on a big responsibility with marketing, and what a dent it makes in the overall culture. And we're certainly seeing some pieces that came from the strategic plan being implemented by you all. I have a quick question with the your fees. Do you have an activity fee? So you're able to do some budgeting around this, or do you all, in addition to all the other planning you're doing, do you fundraise to help to defer some of these costs, or is it just a cost that the student pays if they're able to show up?
Yeah, so we're not charging any of the students to come to any of the student engagement events. We have money in our budget to be able to provide for those events. So yes, everything that we're doing is free of cost to them.
Yeah, excellent.
I just want to say thank you to both of you. Taylor, this was awesome. I know we don't know you, but like we're very proud of you. This is spectacular. I hope you go into communications too. You know, maybe stand up and do stuff like this more often. You did a fantastic job. So thank you for leading and doing all that you're doing. I'm wondering, oh, I think I lost my question. Yep, I lost my question. So thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have acknowledged the student engagement update. Excellent. We have, looks like we're moving on to a vet tech. Corey, could you introduce?
Yeah, I'd like to invite up Emily Stahl, who is one of our vet tech instructors. We actually have 2 academic reports for you today. The first one is on vet tech.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. Just a little update on the vet tech program. So just a little bit about the program. It is a 4-semester coursework program, and at the end of that, they do a 6-week, internship is what that should say. So we kind of have, we consider 2 classes going on. Our first year class is 26 students, and our second year class is also 26 students. So that works out well. Our program is accredited through the American Veterinary Medical Association. We had our initial site visit back in 2022, so we'll be due for our next site visit in 2027, which will be nerve-wracking, but also well. We do have to do an annual report with the AVMA every year, and we've had no issues with any of the updates on that or anything like that. We also, because we have live animals on campus, throughout the semester, we do get inspected by the USDA, and we have to do an annual report with them, as well as a surprise inspection, and we've had no non-compliant issues with that as well. I did mention that we have animals on campus. We have them for about 8 weeks in the fall and then about closer to 12 weeks in the spring semester. And we partner with local rescue groups. Some of them being like Tracy area out of Minnesota. Another one that we partner with is the Humane Society here in Sioux Falls that work really well. We have a couple other rescue groups from around Sioux Falls that we work with, and we provide free care for them. We do spays and neuters and dental cleanings on dogs and cats. We also provide vaccinations, lab testing, anything like that that they need. And then our students, we want them to be well-rounded to go work in our workforce, so large animal is also part of our curriculum. And we utilize going out to Crossan's Boys Ranch, and we work with their cattle, sheep, and horses out there. So that works out really well. We also have an imaging class on campus, and so we do provide our students to learn how to take x-rays. And so some of the patients that we use will get x-rays. That is how our partnership works really well with the Humane Society, because they don't have that capability on site. And so it works out well because we can ask for really nice, gentle dogs while our students are learning things like restraint. And in return, they ask for x-rays of this cat or that dog. And so it works out really, really well. Just a little bit about retention. You can look at the numbers. The short and sweet version of that is our retention rates are increasing. So the first couple years we were having, I don't want to say issues, but some students were getting into the program not realizing what a veterinary technician did. And so since then we have increased kind of admissions where they have to do 25 shadow hours and write an essay. And that's really helped our students that get in the program to succeed, because we know that they know that what they're going to do and things like that. And so that's worked out well. And every year our graduating class is bigger. So 26 in our spring semester is the biggest we've had this year, which works out well. This just shows curriculum. Like I talked about, it is a 4-semester coursework program. And then that very last summer, they get to go out and do an internship out in a veterinary practice. This is just pictures, since you're not on campus, of what our facility looks like. Everything in it is meant to look and work like a normal veterinary practice. So when our students go into a veterinary practice, they understand how things work, how to utilize them, how to do quality control and maintenance and everything. So this is where animals get physical exams, vaccinations, where they're prepped for surgery. The picture on the left is just where we keep track and sterilize all our instruments. And then you can see we have our own imaging suite. That's what's on the right, and on the left is our OR, which is nice and roomy since it is meant for teaching. There's usually quite a few students in there while we're doing surgery. And this is just where we're housing dogs while they're here, and then cats, and they have their own exercise area also. Okay? Yes, exactly. One of the other classes we have is lab animal and exotics, and with that we get rats and rabbits on campus in the fall semester, and so this is the room that they get to stay in while they're there for the couple weeks. The rest of the time we use it for cats. The kennels are a little bit bigger, so after surgery they just have a little bit more room to spread out. Obviously we teach classes, and so this is our laboratory classroom. A lot of what a veterinary technician does is lab analysis, and so they get to learn how to do it the hard way, we joke, and they have to use the microscope. And then this semester they get to use the fancy machines that most practices have, so that way they can do it the hard way when machines malfunction or when we don't trust them, but then they can also be proficient and good at the machines that a lot of practices have. Do you guys, that's all I have. Do you have any questions that I can answer for you?
Can I please get a motion to acknowledge the vet tech update?
So, second.
Questions, discussion? Yep.
So Dr. Stahl, I'm very excited about your program here. And I'm also excited with my other hat of our CTE Academy and their expansion of their ag program and the barn and the fact that they're going to have animals, et cetera. Mm-hmm. What do you see in the future as some possible cross-programming between the CTE Academy, those kids just learning, and what your students can bring for knowledge to those high school kids?
We don't have anything formally established on what they could do, but knowing that they'll have some of our other kind of large animal production species that we won't have access to. Also, students that have an interest in that, we would love to host them on campus for tours. And the one thing that our program, it's not really with CTE, but with our lab space being as nice it is, outside programs have been asked to use it. So the South Dakota Vet Med Association came for a wet lab with veterinarians, and then the SDSU 2+2 program that the vet school that they have there come. So if it's one of those things that CTE wants to partner that way, we definitely want to keep that relationship open, because it is a great pathway if they have that interest to come and be kind of ready for our program too.
You know, where I sit, I advocate for both, you know, K-12 and Southeast, and I always see things from the terms of marketing and recruitment. So I see that, you know, with your knowledgeable students going over there and maybe helping kids with cows or sheep or whatever they have in their barn, you know, what a great opportunity to say, hey, you really like this. Well, we've got this great program at Southeast. So
Definitely.
So I hope that you all get the opportunity to do that.
Yes, very much so.
But thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you.
It's certainly a natural pipeline that we have. I have a quick question on your numbers. You're at 56. Is that the max number of students that you feel that you could serve in the program, or are you looking at growth?
So this is our biggest second-year class and our smallest first-year class is how we look at it. So I think with being a new program and now about 5 years into it, I think maybe some of the wow factor of South Dakota finally having a vet tech program again has worn off. But like I mentioned, the students that are coming are more serious about it. So I think ideally we would have closer to that 30, 32 in our first year class. We always lose some between first year and second year. They do get that summer off, which is great from a student standpoint. I think a lot of life happens. Sometimes it feels like we always lose 2 to 3. And sometimes they let us know why, and sometimes we just have to wonder. So 26 is a good number for our second year class. They have a lot more labs, so like surgical assisting, they get to scrub into surgery with me, dentistry, things like that. And so for our lab space and faculty to student ratios, that's a good number. Like I said, we wouldn't mind a few more in the first year to account for those that just something happens in their life and they can't continue.
Well, it sounds like you're really on target, though, by and large.
Thank you.
You're doing what you can, given your space and the number of staff and everything. It's great.
If I can add a little bit of context, I know we're really hard on ourselves when we lose those 2 or 3 students. Just for context, nationally, the retention rate from first year to second year is just a touch over 50%. So almost half of all 2-year students don't come back the second year. So while we hate to lose those 2 or 3 students that we see in most of our programs, it still far exceeds most of what we see nationally as well. So I think it just goes to the great work that the faculty and staff do every day.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have acknowledged the vet tech update. And
All right. And our second academic program update, I'd like to invite up Sarah Anderson, who is our program director for our medical coding program.
Hello, President Kelly, school board members, President Classman, thanks for having me. And to share our medical coding program at Southeast Tech. So a little bit about what medical coding is. I think sometimes people aren't quite sure what that is. And so what it is the process of translating healthcare diagnosis procedures and services into HIPAA compliant standardized code sets. And so what we do is we abstract what happens in those visits, whether it's a hospital visit, clinic visit, and translate that into codes for the billing and payment and statistical reasons as well. So we review health records and assign codes that accurately capture the patient's health story. Sometimes it's acute, sometimes it's chronic conditions on top of that. So we have to make sure that we capture that. It supports clinical care, reimbursement, and healthcare data integrity across the healthcare system. So coding isn't just about reimbursement, it's actually used for statistical reasons. So when you think about how do we know how many people have had COVID in different areas, they're pulling the stats from our coded cases. So that accuracy is very important. Where we work, we are in hospitals and healthcare systems, clinics, urgent cares, revenue cycle companies. Now, a lot of the hospitals are hiring from revenue cycle companies. They'll take it outside of the hospital setting, and there's companies that hire coders that do that work for different hospitals across the country. And you can see all the time on the news all the clinics that are opening, and so all of those need to be staffed for coders to translate that for payment. So why does coding matter? Reimbursement accuracy. It ensures providers are paid correctly and patients are billed correctly. We tell students it's just as important for that provider to get paid as it is the patient get the correct bill. So data and quality research. It supports quality measures, research, and population health by turning these codes into standardized health data. So again, those codes are pulled for data for the administrators at the hospital. And then national standards, we are required to use HIPAA compliant code sets. So again, it is part of HIPAA standards. So today we have a certificate program. So we have 3 programs and they are stackable. So students can start out at the certificate, move to the diploma, and move to the associate if they want to get to work sooner. A lot of our students come in that are already in healthcare, but they're kind of at that burned out stage where they're ready to get away from direct patient care, and it's a really good transition. And they already have the background of the healthcare and the EHR systems, and so they'll already have a bachelor's, but they'll come in just to get to that certificate. And then the diploma, we add the general education courses, and then they do take a class in health information management to learn about the whole healthcare medical record, statistics, data analysis department, and then billing and insurance. So that's what students benefit from moving to the diploma. And then we have our associate. That adds the second year, and the students are able to sit for the certified professional coder credential and the certified inpatient coder. So they will be dual credentialed if they are there for the 2 years. The certificate, they're able to sit for the certified professional coder. The diploma is the same, but they're adding that extra classes for that information on what is health information, what is the reimbursement and the insurance payment side of that. We want to, in moving forward for next year, have the students prepared for the certified professional biller as well. So our diploma will be differentiated from the certificate that it is now, that they'll have 2 credentials. Coding and billing go hand in hand. If a claim is denied, a lot of the times that biller will send it to a coder. We have to check for documentation. We check for medical necessity against the payer guidelines. And then, so that is gonna be what industry and our advisory board has said would be a great addition. We do have a student that was on our advisory board that said that is the perfect addition from him going into working where he is at now. If he would have had that billing credential on top of it, he said that that would have really helped him, you know, day one at his job. Again, these are stackable, so our students can go straight from the certificate through the associate. And then the additional courses for the associate, we add compliance and regulations. So you think about Medicare conditions of participation, you think about when our history and physical is supposed to be completed. Medicare expects the medical record to be complete within 30 days, everything is signed, verbal orders, everything like that. So they learn about all those regulations. Interprofessional healthcare, there's advanced coding, which is inpatient coding, which is completely different than outpatient coding. So they learn that coding system and reimbursement. Revenue cycle, we have pathophysiology and basic pharmacology. If you are coding inpatient cases, you're looking at chronic conditions that you need to make sure that they're documented and treated before you code them because they affect reimbursement. If you upcode, you can get in trouble legally. So it's really important that we're capturing everything, but it's also treated, that there's proof that that chronic condition or acute condition was treated before we're able to code it. So the future, we are moving towards CAHIM accreditation for the associate program. So right now the students will be able to sit for the certified professional coder and the certified inpatient coder. This will move them to be able to sit for the registered health information technician credential, that you have to be credentialed by CAHIM to be able to offer that. So students will have to, we will have to be CAHIM accredited for them to sit for that. And I think that adds value. If you're going for your associate, you should really be able to sit for that RHIT credential. And so you can see at the end there, the new courses are information systems, so the electronic health record systems like Epic and things like that. We're gonna look at data management because we will be looking at data analytics, which is kind of where we're moving with AI that's becoming part of all of our lives. And management leadership, we have to, you know, project management sometimes, so some of those leadership courses for students, because they are in the leadership role. With the RHIT, you can be the manager of the health information department. And so we have that. We also have data analytics and statistics. So we have to make sure students can grab that statistical information. Statistics that are looked at are death rates, autopsy rates, and all those different rates at the hospital. So they have to understand those statistics. And then they'll have a capstone at the end to make sure that they're ready to put it all together and pass that exam. So currently we have 59 registered. Our demographics are really non-traditional. That is most of what our students are. Part-time, and they're in a career change. So that is the bulk of our students. You can see, I think, what is it, the numbers that are enrolled part-time versus full-time. You can see mostly we are part-time. A lot of our students are working during the day, and their parents, they're doing homework at night, and they're doing homework on the weekends. And they're in a career change. And then you can see, what else do we have? The average age. So that might be something you can kind of note there, that we have a really different demographic in this program. I do think it is because a lot of high school students don't understand what medical coding is. So I think if I would have known about this career when I was younger, where I would be today would probably be a lot different. So I think it's just getting out there and saying all the opportunities from coding all the way up to managing the department and revenue cycle and auditing that there are available. So that's some of our stats. Salary range, I've got up here. It's interesting because the more credentials you have, the more value you add to your position. And so that's why we kind of offer those additional credentials as students move along. And I did look up and pull some of the statistics for as far as how the growth is going to be. And I think the change is, what, 14%, if I see that correctly. So our career has really been moving towards growing more than, not and going away, even with AI. I would say that most of the people in this career are aging out and are going to be retiring. When I do go to these big seminars and health cons with thousands of people, I'm probably one of the youngest ones there. And so there's going to be a lot of jobs out there. So we really want to make sure we have students ready to fill those positions. Now this one I just kind of wanted to throw in there because I think AI is a big question that a lot of people ask. Will AI take your job? And I think a lot of people hear that. AI is a part of healthcare right now. Physicians use that for clinical decision support. That's going to pop up on their screen and make sure they're not giving medications that are, not work well together. But that doctor still needs to know their patient. That decision, that doctor's still using their knowledge of that patient and their health history. And so coding is kind of the same. There's natural language processing where EHRs can pull up all the diagnoses that a physician will state, but sometimes they'll say diabetes type 1 and then they'll say type 2 in the same patient. So we really have to clean that up. And so there's a lot of codes that are combination codes that we have to make sure, all the conditions that are tied to diabetes are coded differently. And so we really will turn into an auditor role with that. So AI is a good thing. But again, our role is evolving. We are really trying to make sure that our associate program is going to show that with our data analytics and data management and leadership courses that we'll be adding. So AI, here's kind of an example. If a doctor documents patient has no fever, they would code fever. AI would pick up that they had a fever. And another one, if there's ambiguous abbreviations, which physicians use sometimes, patient complaints of chest pain, history of MS, they could code it as mitral stenosis versus MS. So history of, they might code it as current. Any history codes, we make sure they're still current and on medications for that. Any scan documents will not be picked up by AI because it's not dictated in the EHR system. And we will always be in a hybrid record. We will probably never be full electronic just because of those extra reports that get scanned in. And so just wanted to give a little bit of information about where we are with AI. So any questions?
I have a question. So,
Then we're first going to
oh yeah,
acknowledge
I
and
forgot.
then
Darn it.
question away. Can I please get a motion to acknowledge the medical coding update?
So,
Second.
Questions? Mark?
thanks. So, do people work at home?
Yes, most of us do.
Oh, you work at home?
Yes.
In your home? And then you
Yes, and so that was pre-COVID. I probably started working from home 20 years ago. When the hospital started there was no room in the office, they decided coders could go home, which we were pretty excited about. And then the billers weren't too happy about it, but for some reason we were the ones that went home. And it used to be where they wanted us plugged into the wall and your office had to be locked. And now it's a little bit with technology that you're able to be a little bit you can move around a little bit more and you're not so much stuck in your house. If you have to travel, you can bring that with you. But yeah, it is a remote, and that's what a lot of our students want. A lot of these people are, like I said, with our age group, they're home maybe with their kids. Their kids, need them at home, and it was a blessing for me because I was a single mom with 2 girls. I was able to bring them to school and pick them up. I was there when they were sick. I might just have had to work when they were sleeping at night, but I had a career and I was there for my kids. So that is a huge thing, whether it's the mom or the dad or the grandparents, you can have a career and still be around, so it's a plus. But yeah, and another good thing about that is you can apply for jobs outside of South Dakota. So let's say there's no jobs in, Sanford or Vera, they're not looking. Students have the option to still live in Sioux Falls, spend their money in Sioux Falls, but they might be working for a hospital in Minneapolis from their own home. So, yeah.
Or an insurance company, or Gail?
So I'm kind of curious about people who have been in the healthcare profession. They have a 4-year degree, and now they're going to make this career switch and may want to get the associate degree for all the credentialing. Are there courses that they don't have to repeat because of their prior education and experience?
What we do is they will send it to the advisor and we'll look at it and we'll ask them questions. What has your job been since that class? If you have not been in that industry since, we strongly recommend, we want them to pass the exam. And so we'll just talk to them about, since you haven't been working in that field, if it's someone that's, yes, I've been in the field and it was that long ago, but I've been doing that job, we would not make them retake that class. So between the registrar and the advisor, we really talk to the students about, whether they feel they could do that. And we also would give them a test. They could test out of that to make sure that they are, able to do that.
That's a great money saver for folks too. Time
It
and
is.
money. Great, thanks.
I have a deep appreciation for this field. Given Medicaid expansion, a lot of nonprofits use this sort of opportunity to be able to bill and stay afloat. And so I've seen that firsthand with community health workers having this extra credential, being able to code and keep our nonprofits going that are doing some of that in-person street care. So just really, again, to have that available is reaching more people than just our medical facilities. And I think somebody mentioned rural care, but having somebody knowledgeable in that in rural care keeps those places open because they're able to code it properly, to get reimbursed, to stay available to those remote places. So it's amazing what you
Yeah,
can
and
do
being
with
able
this.
to have community health workers there to make sure that between appointments, that patient's taking their medications, it saves healthcare down the long run. So
Totally.
really putting the money up front, making sure these patients are being seen, by community health workers, making sure they're following all their plans that they're supposed to, help the providers and help the patients, and really do save money in the long run.
Yeah, it's saving
So-
a lot of taxpayer dollars and emergency room visits,
Yep.
like all of that. So
Right.
yes, love this.
Well, and let your students know that AI is not capable of accountability. Somebody still has to be accountable. So if there is Medicaid, Medicare fraud, they're not coding correctly, AI can't be accountable to that. That's the significance. Otherwise, we'd have self-driving cars already.
Right.
AI is not accountable.
Yeah, it isn't. And it's always the coder. It's always the facility that's, no matter who, if you had paid a consultant a lot of money to come in, it's still the coder. It's not the consultant that, it's always our work. Our name is behind everything we put on it. And what I think is interesting with AI is it has a short-term memory. So it's like, I always tell people that, it's going to take away jobs. And I'm like, well, if you want to hire someone that every day acts like they just met you and you have to explain everything over and again and then correct them, and they're like, and a little disclaimer at the bottom is like, this work might not be correct, you probably wouldn't hire that person. So I always look at it, it's smart, but it's a helper. It's a helper tool, but you're the one putting in the data and analyzing it and reanalyzing it and tweaking it, and it needs a human for that. You need a human for that, yeah.
It's a tool.
Yep, it's a tool.
It's a tool. Well, excellent. Anybody? All right. Okay. Thank you so much. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The medical coding update has been acknowledged.
All right, we have one final update report from the president, and this is our finance report. So I'd like to invite up Christine Goldsmith, our VP of Finance, for that.
Hello. How's everybody doing? Awesome. All right. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, can I just do ups and downs here? No, you like me to do this one? Okay, okay, go over there. All right. Okay, thank you, thank you. Isn't it? Okay, we can really see now. All right. At this point, Rainbow reports are showing the months closed as of October 31st. And so that is a third of the way through the school year. So looking at that information there, the college had brought in $14.6 million in revenues. About 61% of that is on tuition and fees, 20% state funds, smaller amounts on the other side. Within a few weeks after October closed, the state had sent over several $1 million related to PSA and some equipment reimbursement. So missed October close by a few weeks, so things were looking even healthier in this same time frame. So, but you'll see that come up on a future report. That will help the tuition and fee percentage start to shift. So you'll see that start dropping probably to those 50 percentile, or hopefully even a little bit less as far as what the burden is there on the student side for income. 14 million in total outflows or total expenses. At that point, the majority of your expenses are going out for instructional services. Always good to see that front and center. On educational activities, support services are running close to 40%. I expect to see that drop a little bit more as we start seeing adjunct amounts and some other types of instructional things that are a little bit more seasonal come in and hit this. We'll always look for instructional to be taking the lead. Was happy to see facilities under 10%. That's normally that ratio I'm looking for as the place grows and expenses grow, that facilities will be 10% or less of your total day-to-day types of operations. So 9% is good. Heading into the winter and some of those types of utility bills and such. This includes some of those advanced beginning of the year types of payments for that big liability insurance and insurance policy that's in there. So happy to see that at 9%. And facility fee, that's that $36 per credit that the students pay, shown coming in on your fee, on your tuition and fees side, and then dollar for dollar going out here on your expense side. So staying ahead by about 600,000 there at the end of October. So a good place to be going into the next part of the fall. Oop, there we go. All right. So here's the fun chart, seeing how that compares to where the budget is. First line is the one I'm always most excited to look at to see tuition and fees. This 18.4 million that is budgeted, that's a pretty big number. So a percentage different, or looking at how that was predicted, is always a good one to focus on. I'm very pleased to see that 49% of the estimated tuition and fee totals had been achieved by the end of October. If you remember me saying before, normally fall doesn't hit that close to 50%. It's a little bit less. I'm used to seeing a 46.5%, maybe 48% achieved in fall. So this tells me that I was probably a little conservative when I predicted what those tuition and fees are, and that's a good place to be if I'm going to be wrong on the income side. So I'm excited to see how the final spring numbers will hit, but this gives me a very positive feeling, a very positive outlook when I'm thinking about how the budget fit together and answering that big question, is the college living within its means? So this is a good indicator, a third of the way through. Overall, your total revenues are at about 37%, and again, a third of the way through the year. That's a good place to be. State funds at 21%. That's worrisome, but like I said, within a couple of weeks of closing the October month, several millions had floated in. So it feels very comfortable that we're very well caught up, and I anticipate by the end of your academic year, we'll see all of those state monies come in that we were expecting out of that 13.9. On the federal side, federal funds, again, at 22%. Most of what's in there in that budget is for the Ed Wood Building Through the HUD award. And so at this point, we've had some architect fees and a little bit of architect types of fees coming through. We haven't really built too much. It's still in a lot of the planning stage. And in happy news, the process for actually, yes, Corey's, Dr. Plasman's laughing, the process for getting through the HUD's hoops to actually get the money to be reimbursed was completed. I think it was just last week. So we got reimbursed on those. So again, that'll get reflected in the future, but that really gave me a sigh of relief because we've been working on those steps for way longer than I ever thought it would be. But it works. It came through into the bank. When the government has a shutdown, a lot of times HUD is on that list for shutdown. So we'll just watch and see how that goes as the project unfolds and such. But that could be a variable in some of the federal side coming in there. But that'll pick up there. So again, as I'm looking through these, auxiliary sales is a little over half. That feels like the right place to be. Again, your bookstore has a lot of activity in fall and a lot of their big sales. So right, again, 37% was a comfortable place. Total expenses overall, 35% on this functional categories. Instructional services at about 33, which is right about where the year ends. Support services, about 35%. There was a few timing things. A lot of some of your big IT subscriptions, those big annual renewals, they come in earlier in the school year, so that's not too unusual to see on that side. Facility fee is about half. That's consistent with me probably having been a little conservative on what the credit sales are going to be, and facilities right at about a third. So 14 million on the expense side. This is feeling comfortable, and again, indicates to me we're living within our means on this side on that. This report is, again, looking at those same revenues and expenses, but in natural categories, things like payroll and supplies and utilities and some things that you'd be familiar with seeing on other types of statements. So when I take a look at the percentages, I'm scanning through this side to see, is it different? Does it stand out to me differently for something unusual or timing? One of the first places I'll look at on expenses, again, when I'm trying to answer that question, living within our means, is the payroll. That's a big number. Similar to tuition and fees, a small portion of a percentage or a percentage change I'm off predicting there is big numbers. So I'm feeling really comfortable that that's at 31.5%. Again, we'll start seeing adjunct fees for fall coming in, but being less than a third through the year is a good, comfortable place to be. On the payroll and benefits, that includes all your health care and some of those different types of items that are there supporting payroll. Some of the other things that were coming in, your inventory was resale inventory. That's going to be a function of your auxiliary services buying up, getting ready for fall semester and such. So looking through those again, felt like timing was a good explanation for when I was seeing those beyond a third, and nothing unusual that had hit yet. It was a good place. Utilities looked a little lower, so that was a good place to go into winter, because you're never 100% sure what'll happen there. We'll see when those final bills come through. Combined fund balance. This is always a fun chart. At the end of October, your combined fund balance was 12.7 million. You can see from the pattern that is a good position to be in. At this point, that's different than the prior years. Prior years, you had some big building projects going on. You were getting reimbursed on some big equipment types of things. This really is a reflection of your big building projects were completed. We weren't draining funds off to actively be doing those. We've been caught up on a lot of equipment, reimbursement grants, some of those bigger ones. So this is really a good place to be. Going into pretty soon, we're going to be looking to start another big building project. So that's going to be using this working capital. You have a typical burn rate of about 2.5 million. That's without building anything different. And so as we start to do some of those projects that are beyond your daily operations, that's going to utilize that, that money you have on hand. So that 2.5 million will probably turn into a much bigger number depending on how fast some of those buildings are going up. So again, this feels like a comfortable, good place to be in as you're starting to look down the road at getting a big project started. Thank you.
Hold tight just for questions. We're going to first have a motion to acknowledge the finance report.
So moved.
Questions?
I like your charts.
Thank you.
Easier to read. Especially the first one. That's my kind of chart.
Is that your favorite?
That is.
Ooh,
Simple,
that's
to
a
the
nice one,
point.
isn't it?
That's what I like about the
I
presenter.
like it too. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I've
yeah.
got two questions. Can you go to the budget versus actual page, please? Thank you. I understand, you know, the rainbow reports that you're using these, and we're only seeing a third of the year right now. Just to help me in my previous work life, I was just glued to the V versus actual reports because I wanted to know, you know, how we were truly doing.
Bet.
So will you tell me to satisfy me that you know where we are as of the end of December, end of January, going into February, and that these are just the pretty reports for us?
This is yes, definitely the month closed reports, but yes, I do look at the interim items. They aren't reconciled, so you know, it feels like we haven't had a chance to let the business office finish what they're doing when it's not reconciled. But yes, I do watch those. As I mentioned, you know, looking at seeing when the state was paying some of those big payments. So keeping the revenues, keeping the eye on there. So yes, absolutely.
I mean, I believe it when you tell us that, you know, we're doing fine in this and they're doing fine in this. It's just, sorry, it's a occupational hazard that I'm just. My second question is fund balances. So your column like fiscal 25, that's comparing the end of fiscal 25 with where we are now, correct?
So this would be the October 31st
Or is it-
balance
that's what I want
for
to know.
each year.
For-
So I'll go back into those. There's actually a stack of rainbow reports that were waiting for me when I got there. So great historical data. So I have that handy. So I'm able to go back, and so you'll see this change each time I'm here. And that's why, as I'm looking at the same time frame,
Right.
so you can try to
Okay.
compare, because I always ask the question, what's different now? You know, a lot of times the answer is we're bigger and we aren't trying to put up a big building or remodel a giant health center is usually the answer, but there could be another piece of that too, so.
Okay, no, that's important for me to make that. First I thought, well, this must be all October's, but then I thought, no, maybe it's the end of fiscal, but
Yeah, so
we're
it's, so
good,
you're
we're
looking
good.
at
So
just
it's
October.
apples to apples here.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
No, cash flow is a real issue, Gail, that's right. Going back to that, the last, on our, yes, thank you. Of that 12.7, what of that is already committed?
So there's portions of that we, for example, the Build Dakota, State Build Dakota program will send money in advance for that scholarship, and then we utilize it through the year. So a portion of that is there because it hasn't truly been recognized in its entirety as revenue, even though they sent it in advance. There's other pockets that are related to money that we've gotten before or that's for an intended purpose, maybe M&R, that $6 per credit that the students pay in that's really intended for more maintenance than general payroll, those types of things. So on the balance sheet, on those rainbow reports, you'll see some of that different types of categorization, but yeah.
Okay,
So not, I would say maybe 20%.
okay, got it. And then that 2.5 million burn rate, is that for this year or have you projected that out?
So that's just a technique I used from my days when I had to be the one that made payroll. And so trying to get a sense of how big is the organization, what's it consuming, what do you need to feed it to keep it to consume? And then also when I look at that 12.7, you know, sometimes finance people a little bit gloom and doom. I don't know if you've met a lot of us, but we always are like, what happens if one more dollar never shows up? How long can we stay alive to figure out how to solve the problem?
Yeah, you read my mind. That's exactly what I was equating.
So that's
thank
like the burn rate. So at 12 million, 2.5, we could stay alive for quite a while while we're trying to figure out how to get some more money in the door. So that's a good place to be. Yeah, but as you get bigger and as we have projects going on, that rate's it's going to take more to feed the beast. So I got to try to get reimbursements happening on a dime. So we don't have to do other things, if that makes sense.
because cash flow is a real thing.
Cash flow is a real thing, yeah. Yeah.
Good, you've got a good pulse on things. I had no doubt, but just wanted to add some clarity.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
And I just want to publicly acknowledge Christine. She has done a great job really working on turning that over and getting those reimbursements. You know, she talked about like the federal HUD money as well, very quickly to make sure that we're getting that and we're getting the interest off of it and not letting it sit somewhere else. So I just want to publicly thank you for really working on that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, yeah, we'll, sure. Yeah, good. Excellent. Any other questions, observations, Chris? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have acknowledged and approved the financial report. We're moving on next.
Then the last thing we have is the second read of policies as well, which I know Jim is coming up for.
Hello, Mr. Schmidt. Thank you for being here. Larson, thank you for being here with us.
That's fine.
Do you like, there's a Jim Schmidt. I'm so used to running into Jim Larson. Sorry, Mr. Larson. So we have our second reading.
We have second reading a number of policies. We have had no comments or no request to comment on any of these. If you'd like, I can go through them real quick again, but nothing's really changing with it.
No,
I didn't have any board questions either, so I think we're good to roll.
excellent. Can I please get a motion to approve the second reading of the Sioux Falls School District Southeast Technical College Policies and Regulations, items A through I?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We have approved the second reading
Thank
of
you very
items
much.
A through E. Thank you, Mr. Larson.
Glad you showed up.
Okay. I'm glad we could add the,
That was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's wonderful.
okay, can I please get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned.